Good afternoon, villagers. It's that time again. It is PTV JuLive on this day, July 24th. How are you doing? I hope everything is going well for you today. I know I've been having quite a magical day. People at work have they've still been celebrating my birthday around here. So I came in this morning and my desk was covered with glitter and confetti, and there were signs all over the place hanging from the ceiling. There's a big sign that said happy birthday. It was a very nice surprise to come into. Turns out there's also someone else in my office. Her name is Lourdes, and her birthday is on the 22nd, so they kind of did a double celebration today. It was very, very nice to come into. So anyway, that's been my day so far, just pushing paper. I do a lot of paper shuffling on my desk at work. It definitely keeps the county going. So it's kind of an important thing that I do for my department, and I actually really enjoy what I do and love the people that I work with. So how are you all doing today? It's good to see you here. So this is one of those days that there's a little bit of news in Disney history. So let's go ahead and start talking about some stuff that happened on this day, July 24th, in Disney history. In 1940, on July 24th, 1940, there was a story meeting that took place at the Disney Studios. And in attendance is Walt and 9 of his employees, including animator Joe Grant and a layout artist by the name of Hugh Hennessy and a writer named Ed Penner. That was in 1940. Now, mind you, this is 1940, and then the next year in June, a cartoon debuts called The Reluctant Dragon. And that was the story meeting that took place that day in Disney history in 1940. In 1942, a Donald Duck short premiered called Donald's Gold Mine. Donald attempts to dig for gold with difficult equipment and an uncooperative donkey. I don't really remember this one. Hello, Andrew Dexter. How are you doing? Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Let's see, what else has happened on this day? In 1949, an actor by the name of Michael Richards is born. And he appeared in a Disney special on The Wonderful World of Disney, 40 Years of Television Magic. Now, people may know Michael Richards as Cosmo Kramer on the show Seinfeld. So if you've never seen Seinfeld, Kramer is Jerry Seinfeld's neighbor across the hall. Kind of a crazy character. So kind of fun too. On this day in 1964, there was a news story that ran in the Chicago Tribune. And it featured a story of things that were going on in New York at this time, as a matter of fact. The New York World's Fair, to be exact. The title that ran in the Chicago Tribune was called Lincoln Still Holds Hearers Spellbound. Now, to be a little bit more specific about that, they're talking about the Illinois Pavilion, and which is why Chicago ran it. It was the Illinois Pavilion at the New York World's Fair, and that is the pavilion that had Walt Disney Productions' Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was one of Walt's favorite characters or favorite people in history, so he really focused on spreading Lincoln's legacy, shall we say, and still lives today at Disneyland. Also on this day, there was an ambassador. Her name is Connie Swanson. And she said, I had the honor of standing next to Walt for the opening of New Orleans Square. She said his eyes missed no detail, and he spoke of how he would improve on the concept. Accompanying us was the mayor of New Orleans. So the actual mayor of New Orleans, Louisiana, was at Disneyland on this day in 1966 when New Orleans Square premiered at Disneyland. It's a 3-acre area of the park. It has many shops and stores today. Hello, Happy Lux. How are you doing? Thank you so much for the love from Luxembourg. Hope you're having a great day. So in 1955, the original park opened with 5 lands: Adventureland, Frontierland, Fantasyland, Tomorrowland, and Main Street USA. New Orleans Square was the first expansion outside of these original lands. Of course, Disneyland opened in 1955, but this land opened in 1966. And it was the first land at Disneyland to open without any kind of an attraction. There were just shops and restaurants at that time. It took until 1967 for Pirates of the Caribbean to open, and then the Haunted Mansion opened in 1969. Of course, both of those are perennial favorites and mega attractions at Disneyland. And to this day, there are still waits, even some 50 plus years later. So I'm not surprised, because they are actually very good attractions. Oh, thank you so much, Happy Lux. Yes, everyone, please smash that like button. Make sure that you like this video. Thank you so much. New Orleans Square wasn't really a square. It's actually a collection of streets that kind of like meander around. If you've never been there, it's actually a very nice little crowded area of the park, but it's just so attractive. If you look in the distance as well from Frontierland and you look toward New Orleans Square, you'll actually see on the rooftops, you will see something that looks like ships in the harbor. So it gives you the illusion that the harbor of New Orleans is just right behind the buildings that you see there. It's a very cool effect. Those were actually added when Fantasmic was added to the Rivers of America in 1992. Those lights, well, the sails that are on top of the building actually hide the view of some lights that are there for the Fantasmic show. So it actually pulls double duty there. So when you're standing there during the day, you'll see sailing ship, what looks like sails from a sailing ship. But when Fantasmic happens, those sails go down and then lights are in place. So, yeah. Anyway, it took $18 million to build New Orleans Square. $18 million. The original investment for Disneyland was $17 million. So to spend $18 million on just 3 acres, just one land, was rather significant. Now, a lot of that investment did go to Pirates of the Caribbean. So it was a very wise investment. $18 million. Hello, Mickey Sightings. How are you doing? Hope you're having a great day. So $18 million was a wise investment for that area of the park. Yeah, you know, Keystone, I love New Orleans Square. It's one of my favorite parts. Actually, the entire west side of the park is one of my favorite areas of the park. So, of course, that includes Adventureland and Frontierland. We spent a lot of time there. So that was in 1966. And then in 1985, Walt Disney Studios premiered an animated film which a lot of people would like to forget, unfortunately. It was an animated film that actually almost killed the animation studio. The Black Cauldron premiered on this day in 1985. Some of you may have not ever seen The Black Cauldron. It is still available out there. I have it on DVD, and I must profess I've only seen it once. So the one time that I did see it, it wasn't in the theater. I saw it on DVD when I purchased it. And my memory of it is very fuzzy. I don't really remember too much about it. I just remember it being a dreadful film. Now, I really should go back and watch the film again so that I know what I'm talking about. That may be a film that Disney Dan and I discuss in length at some time. It's hard to believe that the cost of building Splash Mountain at Walt Disney World costs the same as the entire Disneyland. Yeah, you know, $17 million, it's amazing. As a matter of fact, when Disneyland built Space Mountain in 1977, they spent $17 million on that entire investment of building the entire area, including the stage and so forth. And then just a few, this was 1966, and then I'm getting off track here, 1995, when they opened, well, actually it's not quite off track. I'll dovetail into something. In 1995, Disneyland opened on March 3rd, the Indiana Jones adventure, Temple of the Forbidden Eye. And that investment for that particular part of the park was $100 million. Now, that $100 million they used to not just build the Indiana Jones attraction, but they also did a lot of improvements to the land of Adventureland. They tore down and rebuilt the queue for the Jungle Cruise. It used to stick out further into the land, but now at that point in '95 they opened it up and they made it a 2-level queue so that people actually double back on each other, above each other. So the queue is 2 floors. It's beautifully done, but I must say that not only was that $100 million spent on the attraction, they also had to reroute the monorail. They had to reroute the Jungle Cruise as well. They actually kind of shortened the Jungle Cruise a little so that the building of Indiana Jones Adventure would fit in the era that they built it. Now, the reason why I mentioned the Indiana Jones Adventure at this point is because later on today at 9:30 p.m. on the East Coast, 6:30 Pacific time, This and That will be airing again, and I believe it is on the Shep Family's channel for YouTube. That's going to be Steve's World, the Shep Family, Brandy and Dave, and Zippity Doo Dad. They will be discussing Indiana Jones. So they will be discussing not just the epic spectacular, stunt spectacular at the studios, but they will be talking about the Indiana Jones adventure as well at Disneyland. And I'm sure they'll probably mention movies and do a lot of talks, and I'm sure costumes will be involved as well. Just wonder who's going to be Indiana Jones. So I'm curious about that. So make sure that you catch that show. That's tonight at 9:30 on the East Coast, 6:30 on the Pacific time zone on the West Coast of the United States. And then it'll be streaming later on the channel This and That. Anyway, hi, the Bomo. Thanks for being here. Yeah, it is a great attraction, Mickey Sightings. I remember the first time I rode Indiana Jones Adventure. It was during the cast preview in February of '95, and I thought I was going to fall out of the vehicle. I was very scared. It was a very scary attraction. They toned it down a little bit at that point after the cast preview. So yeah, it will be hilarious tonight. Their show is always funny. I don't miss it. Okay, so let me get back to history. I'm so sorry I got sidetracked there. Kind of a hashtag on topic, off topic. In 1991, this happened in Daytona Beach. The 100th Disney store opened. So that's pretty cool. 100 stores. They started building them in the mid '80s. So 100 stores by '91 is a pretty good feat. Let me see what else I wrote down in my notes, because there was not really a lot of significant things in my minutes that I wrote for myself. Oh, some things about Comic-Con in 2009, 10 years ago. They had some Disney legends on stage at Comic-Con at one point, and it included Hayao Miyazaki and John Lasseter, and then Lee Unkrich and Kirk Wise, Ron Clements, John Musker. They were all part of an animation panel, so it was pretty darn cool. Hi, Zachary. Thanks for being here. We can walk to a Disney store. It's very close. The Bomo says it's a very close walk. That's cool. So yeah, I don't have a Disney store within walking distance, although there is one within driving distance. It's about 15 minutes from the villa, so not too bad. That is really about it for today's history. Not too much going on. I did find this quote from Disney, so I'll go ahead, from Walt Disney, and I'll go ahead and say that. He was talking about, being that this is July, it is considered Disneyland month. And so I'll go ahead and mention this one. It is Walt Disney. To keep an operation like Disneyland going, you have to pour it in there. It's what I call keeping the show on the road. You have to keep throwing it in. You can't sit back and let it ride. Not just new attractions, but keeping it staffed properly. You know, never letting your personnel get sloppy. Never let them be unfriendly. And boy, does that show. Oh, you used to work at the Disney store in '95 to '98. That's pretty darn cool. Which store did you work at by chance, if you don't mind mentioning? I'd like to know that. So anyway, if you mention it in the live stream, I'll go ahead and see it. But that's about it for today in Disney history. There's not much that really happened. Okay, Braintree, Massachusetts, very nice. So I'm sure is the store still open? I'm sure you probably still go there. I know I've been going to Disney stores since the 80s, so yeah, I can't stay away. It's just an extension of the magic. So anyway, that is this day in Disney history. Let me go ahead and swipe that message away. This day in Disney history, July 24th. I hope that you enjoyed this time with me. I know I always enjoy spending time with you, my villagers. I just don't take it for granted, all your support and love. So if you haven't yet, make sure that you hit the like button. Let's see, Zachary, you're having an epic stream after my stream. Yeah, everyone go ahead and head on over to Zachary's channel afterward. Let's see. Oh, thank you so much, Keystone. Appreciate it. Yeah, I always enjoy this time. So anyway, this has been This Day in Disney History, part of PTV JuLive. So again, for the entire month of July, I'll be going live every day. I cannot believe I've done this 24 straight days. It's amazing. I didn't think, a lot of people thought, you know what, it's a tall order, and I'm glad I did it. So anyway, like I said, make sure that you hit that like button on the way out. I'd really appreciate it. It does help the video. And also thank you so much for spending this time with me. I really appreciate it. It's always nice to spend time with my villagers. So wherever you are right now, go out and make it the rest of a magical day, and have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. So everyone, thank you so much, and I will talk to you later. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.